Well, hello and welcome to another edition of Lab Rats. My name is Andy Walker.
I'm Sean Carruthers.
And of course, this is your favorite show about technology where we take things apart and put them back together so you understand how they work.
Are we going to do that today?
No, today we are going to respond to our fantastic viewers out there who send us lovely emails all the time. It's another Lab Rats mailbag.
Mailbag! We haven't done this for a long time.
We haven't, no, and the mail's been stacking up, so we thought we'd go through them and respond to, a few viewers' questions. Seems to be some of our more popular shows. So why not?
Here we go.
So lots of fabulous emails coming up in our handy-dandy mailbox.
This is decidedly old-fashioned.
It's very analog, isn't it?
Yes.
All right, well, let's take a break. When we come back, your emails answered today on Lab Rats. Well, let's just get into this because I think there's some fantastic questions.
Yes.
Starting with me.
Yes.
I'm going to read one.
All right.
We have a picture, actually, don't we? This is from Alan from Akashi, Japan. And this was taken at Universal Studios in Japan in Osaka last Christmas.
It's very dramatic. I can tell it's taken at a studio. He's being eaten by a shark. His whole family is being eaten by a shark.
It's crazy. He says, we're currently living in a small town called Akashi, about an hour away. And from left to right is Yumi, Amika, Alan, this is from, and Rio. So Alan asks, hello, Andy and Sean. Have been watching the shows for years and have always found your shows to be informative and interesting. One question regarding the show that you did on security. Please note that I'm no expert, but didn't you just show your PayPal account username to everyone? Remember when you did that?
Yes.
If it's a time-based system, as you say, then anyone who also has the same device would be able to enter your PayPal account. Regards, Alan, from Akashi, Japan.
Yeah, this device right here. So we showed this device off here. It's a little fob here that when you log into PayPal or PayPal-related sites, you have to use this little device to get a little security verification. So you press the button here, and it'll show off a little number here. And that's actually upside down, but you get the point. It enters, you take that number and then you enter it into your login screen so that it will verify that you're you. Right. Now, Alan is correct in pointing out that if you have the number and the username,
you can get in.
And the password, then we can get in, right? I didn't give up my password, I don't believe, but here's the thing: is each of these devices is different, and that's the important part, Alan. Is this device right here is my device and my device alone. If Andy has one of these devices, it's not the same one. So
if we push the button at the same time,
right,
we won't get the same number.
Right. So these are pre-calibrated at the factory to have certain numbers pop up at certain times. So if it's time X, it will be this number. Right. If it's time Y, it'll be this other different number. So what we do when we sign up for this thing, we press it once, enter the number, press it twice, enter the number, and that way it'll know, it's key number blah. And your key will have different results. And your key, Alan, will also have different numbers when you press that button twice. Right. So it essentially identifies this little fob, to the number, so that even if you had one of these yourself, even if you had my username and password, you couldn't get in because you'd need this exact fob as well.
Very cool. So Alan, your little budget there for the next trip to Universal Studios Japan is safe if you, even if you have one of these things.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, my turn.
All right, so I will read one, and we have a photo as well.
Yes.
Now this is Harry from Reading, Pennsylvania. And Harry asks, I have a question about 2.4 and 5 gigahertz band Wi-Fi networks.
Yeah. What
is the difference between the two, and which one should I use?
Oh, very good. Good question. Well, so 2.4 gigahertz is something called the ISM band. And the ISM band is an industrial science and medical, I think it is, band that was opened up a bunch of years ago to allow consumer devices to talk in it. So Wi-Fi 802.11b and 802.11g, which is what the home network wireless routers use, sit in that 2.4 gigahertz band. Mm-hmm. And now after B came out, ironically, there was 802.11a came out.
After B.
After B. Strange wrinkle in the history of wireless, but
yes,
nonetheless. And A was dedicated to the 5 gigahertz band, another band used by the public. Mm-hmm. Now, the problem with the 5 gigahertz band was it was actually, the range was shorter, and the energy that traveled from those routers between the two devices couldn't penetrate walls and floors as efficiently as the 2.4 gigahertz equipment.
Yeah, because the waveforms were narrowed down a lot, and they'd go up and down more times within that wall and dissipate more quickly.
Right. So even when you ran, so the nice thing about the 5 gigahertz band, 802.11a, was that very few people use that band. So it was actually kind of like a wide open highway with only a few cars going on, so you wouldn't get much interference, whereas 2.4 is jam-packed with Bluetooth and baby monitors and Wi-Fi and a bunch of other, microwaves even use that same band as well. Yeah. So, way back when I would have said if you had a busy, if you had trouble with interference, and you probably should get an 802.11a Wi-Fi device. But that said, these days the new devices, 802.11n, use actually both spectrums, don't they?
They do. They actually have taken the two and use whichever one is appropriate. And you can actually choose between the two.
Right.
If you go into the router, right. By default, it'll alternate between whichever one is most applicable or useful.
Right. Now, where this is actually very useful is if you have those cordless phones, you go out and you want to buy a new cordless phone for the house, you'll actually see 2.4 gigahertz as a choice or 5 gigahertz as a choice. Now, if you get a lot of static on the 2.4 gigahertz band, you may want to opt for a 5 gigahertz cordless phone because there's less traffic up there. So that would be the only real true application. Otherwise, this is using both, the new ones are using both spectrums.
Yeah, so I mean, if you already have the phone, you've got the 5 gigahertz one, you can set this one default into 2.4 or vice versa. Yeah. Just remember that if you do go into the 5 gigahertz mode for this, you're going to lose range.
Right, there you go. Very good. All right, your turn. So another picture. This is from Chris we don't know where he's from. And we have a photograph of him.
There's Chris.
And he says, "Hi, Lab Rats team, I love your show. My friend and I have been arguing about which mobile gaming device is best. And we both have a Sony PSP. He has a Nintendo DSi, and I have an iPod Touch. Which is better? Sincerely, Chris Souza." So what do you think, Sean?
Well, this is a question that has a lot of different answers depending on your take on this. Now, we've got a couple of them here. We've got the PSP over here, and we've got the Nintendo DS Lite here. And my general answer on this is whichever one you like the best is the best. It's just, there's a lot of different games available for different ones. Now, the PSP is a very capable little device. It's very high powered. It's got a great screen. It can play movies. And it's really, really good. But the content that you like might not be on that device. The DS Lite, it's got the dual screens on all these versions of the DS. That's what DS stands for. So you have two ways of interacting with this. And it has a whole series of different games. Now, which one do you like best is, I guess, the real answer to it. And again, the iPhone and the iPod has a really good processor, and it's got a really great screen. It plays games really well. But if the games you like aren't there, then don't go for it.
Oh, it's because you pick it based on content.
Right.
I know that the younger kids, like my stepson Kyle is 7, he just loves his DS. And I think the PSP is probably more adventure games and action games and things that he wouldn't. Like he likes Pokemon and that sort of thing.
These are both Matt's, and Matt said that he likes the PSP for sports games. It's very good at that. And but he says the Nintendo is better with the battery, so it lasts a little bit longer. So
very good.
And again, I like the PSP because it has two of my favorite games of all time, Katamari, and it has Loco Roco, and the newest version, Loco Roco 2. Now that's about all I play on it, unfortunately. So, but I don't want really anything on the DS except for maybe Brain Age. It's just not my bag.
Not your thing, yeah.
On the other hand, I like the Wii, so I like their version of it. And the Wii is certainly not the best of the gaming platforms out there from a performance perspective. Everything there would point towards the PS3.
Right.
And yet people are still pointing towards the Wii because it's more fun in a lot of cases, and people are going for Xbox 360 because there's a lot of games. So, what do you like best?
Personal taste.
That's the answer.
Personal taste. Well, thank you, Chris, for sending in your question. Okay, let's move on.
All right, that one for you. And this one right here, we got another photograph. This is from Taylor, who's in Sussex, Wisconsin. And he's actually sitting here in front of a robot from his high school robotics team.
Cool.
It's designed to shoot a foam ball across the room.
No kidding, that's great.
And there you go. And I think it also fought other robots to the death. Anyways, he was asking, he was interested in how the supercomputers work and how folding at home cluster works like it. There you go. And he also says, the show is well made and has taught me so much so far. Continue the great work. So folding at home.
Folding at home. So folding at home is a project out of Stanton University. And it's really designed to help scientists with figuring out how proteins work. So when they're actually researching disease. So when a molecule replicates itself, it folds, right, in the process to duplicate itself. And what happens is when that folding process goes wrong, disease can occur, so Alzheimer's, cancer, things like that. And so what they've done is they've said, we don't have the budget for a supercomputer to run all this data that we have to solve the mystery of proteins and how they fold.
Yeah, so a supercomputer being a gigantic computer with tons and tons of processing.
So if you think about what they're doing is they're analyzing enormous amounts of data.
Yeah.
And so what they've done is they've said, okay, go to our website, download a little program, and it can become your screensaver. And, but when it goes into screensaver mode, it's actually pulling down chunks of data from the university and processing it for the university, for the scientists, and sending the results back. So it's like, so if thousands and thousands of people are using this thing, when they're not using the computer's working away, it actually helps them with their research.
Now you think about this, a lot of people are sitting there with their computers on throughout the day and they're off doing something else. They're like off on a coffee break or they're just away from the machine. Some people leave their machines on all night. So there's a lot of computer cycles that could be harnessed this way.
Yeah, for good. And the other organization that uses this kind of approach is SETI, right, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, I guess.
Yes.
And so same thing, you could download a little screensaver from them and actually help them filter radio information coming in from the radio telescopes to listen for aliens. So if you want to help, you can go to SETI as well.
It sounded more like a truck than an alien.
It's a truck outside. If you want to find out more about the folding process and download and help the scientists cure disease, then go to folding.stanford.edu, and you can download that for the Mac and Linux, for Windows and that sort of thing. So a worthwhile project, and go check it out.
There we go. You got another question for me?
I do, sir.
Do we have time for this?
We have time for one more? Okay.
There we go.
All right, so
we have no photograph for this.
We have no photograph for this one. This is from Justin from Duluth, Minnesota. And he says, hey guys, I've been watching your show for about a month, and I was wondering if you could explain to those who don't know what Crossfire and SLI is. Keep up the great work, guys. Justin from Duluth.
All right, well, these two things are essentially gaming technologies that the gaming companies use to harness the power of more than one video card. So one is from ATI, that's Crossfire, and one is from NVIDIA, which is called SLI. And what they do is they have two separate video cards in. So in the past, when you have a computer, you have one video card when you're gaming, right? It points or pushes the video signal out to your monitor. And you can actually have two monitors out on these things. Yep. But now what they've done is they've said, well, that's not quite enough power for a lot of what we want to accomplish. So now they're putting in a separate card right beside it in another slot, now that they've got the new form factors that accept new
cards side by side?
New cards, yeah. So you can put two of these cards in right beside each other, and they'll communicate with each other. Now in the past, SLI used a little dongle that physically connected the two cards.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it would go over top of other cards inside your system. Crossfire was able to talk right through the motherboard itself. You'd need a motherboard that's actually physically configured for this, that actually has all of the guts inside that knows how to deal with it. Now both of them, I think you can just pop the cards in and then enable it in software to do that. But what it does is actually spreads the graphics load between the two processors. Yeah,
so you get like super graphics power.
Yeah, so this is kind of like you were talking about with folding at home and with the SETI at home. It actually distributes this information, does the processing, and then returns it and then displays it. So it's able to put together more realistic imagery.
Right. So really a technology for gamers, extreme gamers who want the ultimate video performance out of the games that they play.
Yeah, and which one is better? I don't know. They're both pretty darn good.
Chocolate, vanilla.
Yeah, and it's seesaws. So I mean, if you're watching this in the future, even if I said Crossfire was better right now, SLI could be better tomorrow.
Right. Exactly.
So,
okay, good. Any more? We'll wrap it up. Okay. Well, so there you go. That's your email, another mailbag from Lab Rats. If you want to send in messages to us for consideration for a future episode of Mailbag, send it to.
You can fold things at home and then send them to us via email at labrats.tv.
Or better.
Feedback at labrats.tv.
There you go. Okay, well, let's take a break. When we come back, the usual wrap-up, including pictures, and we're going to actually have we're going to show you a new show that we've developed at butterscotch.com. That's after this. Now, of course, you may not know that we are part of the Butterscotch Network now, butterscotch.com, and you can find all the Lab Rats shows, including our show notes for every episode on the site. LabRats is at butterscotch.com/LabRats, of course, but there's lots of other shows. And we want to preview or show you one of the shows we've developed recently with our web editor, Andrew Moore Crispin, called Gadget TV.
GT with AMC.
GT with AMC. This is a show where you don't see much of Andrew. You actually only see his hands and you see the gadget. It's the gadget as star, and he basically covers all the new gadgets coming out in 2 and 3 minute episodes. So let's have a look at one of those episodes now, and when we come back, picture time after this.
Welcome on deck. I'm Matt Harris.
Hi, I'm Jay Goldman.
Welcome to the A-List.
Hi, welcome to Miss Download.
Now, the software that comes with it is a little bit inelegant, but it does work. It also supports the PDF file format, Microsoft Word documents, and BBEB, which is an ebook format. It also supports other text documents, as well as Adobe Digital Editions. Now, it has 512 megabytes of internal memory, which is enough for about 350 books. It also, if we take a quick look on the top, supports regular format SD cards and Memory Stick Duo Pro.
Well, we showed you a bunch of pictures of the people that mailed in questions.
Yes, Mailbox is now
But
closed.
the mailbox is now closed, so. But we still have an extra picture, don't we?
We do have a picture.
All right.
No question on this one, just a picture.
Okay. And
So
who do we have?
Here we have. This is from Eddie in Blackpool, UK. And he sent us a picture. He says his neighborhood stinks.
He's from the historic borough of Pooh. Oh, good.
Yeah, that looks like it's not photoshopped at all there, Eddie.
No.
That
Yeah,
just-
what gave it away, Sean?
Well, there's a little bit of smearing there from the paintbrush.
All right.
But you know what really gave it away for me?
What?
This right here. Eddie, if you want to do this in the future again, you want to make it less obvious, center it up. It looks like it's lopsided now. And it would have been so easy to do.
Oh, well.
So easy.
There you go. Well, because in his email, he said, oh, I'm from the borough of Pooh. There was no allusion to the fact that trying to trick us.
Well, he knows your sensibilities.
I know, he knows that I love the word poo. My world's full of poo at the moment. I have a 7-year-old, come on. It's a poo festival. I have a 2-year-old niece who's full of poo as well.
I think we're done with this topic.
Okay.
Moving on.
All right, okay, well.
Without this topic, he doesn't know what to talk about anymore.
If you would like to send your pictures of your borough to us here at Lab Rats, you can email it to.
Your borough doesn't have to stink to send us a picture of the sign outside your borough at labrats.tv.
Or more simply,
Feedback at labrats.tv.
there you go. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in this week, pushing play. It makes it all worthwhile for us to be here. When you do that, my name's Andy Walker,
I'm Sean Carruthers.
and we'll see you next time.
Are you ready? Try this at home.
All right, let's have some mailbag fun.
Mailbag fun, do-do-do-do, boo-boo-doo-boo-boo.
Don't look here because that's not relevant to anything.
Thank you.
5, 4, 3.
Well, hello, and welcome to another edition.
Sorry, I hit the camera.
You hit